What's good, my people? Welcome back to EMGM Sports. I'm your boy Enzo. I hope everyone is doing well. First of all, big up to everyone who's been showing mad love to the channel. Do you know what I mean? I really appreciate your support. Everyone that likes, everyone that comments on every video. Do you know what I mean? And everyone who's subscribed, I really appreciate you. Do you know what I mean? Listen, if you love your boxing, you love your MMA, combat sport in general, this is the place to be. Do you know what I mean? Because I share my real and honest opinions on every fight. We cover every fighter. Do you know what I mean? So this is the place to be. So if you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Do you know what I mean? That's the only way you can support the channel and help the channel to grow. So go ahead, man, do that. Don't forget that. But anyways, let's get into this, my people, man. I saw an interview recently, like, of Terrence Crawford. And he was talking about, listen, he still wants that Canelo fight. You know, he really wants it. He sees the fight against Canelo Alvarez as a legacy fight. You know, he was talking about he just wants to face one of the best fighters, you know, of his era. You know, listen, I admire Terrence Crawford for having that courage. Do you know what I mean? To want to go up against a monster who is Canelo Alvarez. Because listen, Canelo Alvarez is a brilliant, brilliant boxer. Do you know what I mean? Like, definitely he's in my top 10 of all time. I've got Terrence Crawford in my top 5 of all time. Do you know what I mean? Let me know if you agree with that. Drop it in the comments. But Terrence Crawford, you know, look, he's come out, he said, look, that's the fight he wants. And it's not necessarily just about money. Well, while I was listening to that interview, do you know what I mean? He said, look, it's not just about money, it's about legacy as well. Do you know what I mean? I want to have that big name on my resume. Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to, like, when I retire, once it's all said and done, I can talk about I fought one of the best fighters of all time in my era. Do you know what I mean? So I think like that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. But the only thing is, yeah, after the fight against Errol Spence, you know, when Crawford beat Errol Spence in devastating manner, like, he just outclassed him, like, it was crazy. You know, we all thought that was gonna be a 50-50 fight. Far from it. Do you know what I mean? Crawford absolutely dominated, battered Errol Spence and TKO'd him. Do you know what I mean? So after that fight, I was thinking, Crawford might have a chance here. Do you know what I mean? I would actually like to see that fight with Canelo. You know, I really thought that Crawford can do something. Do you know what I mean? If anyone can beat Canelo, I thought, listen, Crawford can do it, because Crawford is a fantastic technician. Do you know what I mean? Great ring IQ. You know, he can basically do everything. He can outbox you. If you want to bang, he can bang. If you want to fight dirty, he can fight dirty. So I feel like Crawford is the perfect fight. He's got so many different threats that he can possesses, that he could present to Canelo. Therefore, you know what? It could be a difficult puzzle for Canelo to solve if he was to get in a ring against a Terrence Crawford. But once Terrence Crawford got in a ring with Israel Modrimov at 154, like, that performance, a lot of us people that support, you know, our big Crawford fans, like, we got a bit worried. Do you know what I mean? Like, Crawford looked like he struggled a bit at 154 at that weight. Do you know what I mean? He looked like he really wasn't coping with that weight well. Now, to be fair to Crawford, that was the first time in that weight for us to see him in that weight class. And Israel Modrimov, even though he only had 10 fights as a pro fighter, he had hundreds of amateur fighters. So he ain't no slouch. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, like, technique, his technical ability and everything like that, he's fantastic, because he has so many amateur fights here. That's where a lot of fighters really develop their technique. Do you know what I mean? And he's had so many amateur fights that he was comfortable. So he does, just because he had 10 fights as a pro, it didn't make him, do you know what I mean, any inferior to Crawford, because in terms of his ring IQ, Israel Modrimov is great as well. Do you know what I mean? So in that fight, Israel Modrimov did way more better than I thought he would. I thought Crawford would go in there, kind of bully him, outclass him, even get the stoppage. But it was far from that, to be real. Crawford looked like at times he was struggling to really keep up with the physicality of Israel Modrimov. Do you know what I mean? That was one of the big factors. Like, it looked like that weight class, Crawford didn't really have that pop. Do you know what I mean? He didn't really have that shot where he can hurt Israel Modrimov. Do you know what I mean? Israel Modrimov was having a lot of success, man, with that right hand straight through the middle. Like he was catching Crawford with some shots that we haven't really seen Crawford get hit with at the lower divisions. Do you know what I mean? The lower weight classes. So even though Crawford did come out that fight victorious, do you know what I mean? He won the belt. I just felt like, I feel like with Canelo, it might just be a bit, Crawford might just bite more than he can chew with Canelo. Do you know what I mean? Because what? Canelo's fighting a super middleweight. Currently, he's a super middleweight. Do you know what I mean? 168 pounds. Canelo's gone all the way up to light heavy. Do you know what I mean? And one of the most intriguing things and some of the things that concern me about Crawford taking on Canelo is like not just the weight class, like what weight class do they fight? Do they fight on? Do you know what I mean? Because Crawford is a 154. We already saw that he struggled at 154. Canelo is a 168. Can Crawford even get to 160? Do you know what I mean? That's like a lot of advantages going to Canelo, just the weight alone. Do you know what I mean? Just the weight alone. I feel like if Crawford was to fight Canelo, he's going to have to want to keep that speed of his. He's going to want to be very light on his feet, move around a lot. Yeah, not stand there and trade with Canelo because we already know Canelo carries the power more than Crawford. So he's not going to want to stand there with Canelo and take those shots because trust me, he's going to get badly hurt or even get knocked out. You know, we've seen Canelo knock out bigger fighters than Crawford. So guaranteed he's going to knock out Crawford if Crawford was to stand there and bang with him. Do you know what I mean? So Crawford's going to want to be light on his feet, move around, avoid a lot of the shots and everything like that, not get cornered and everything like that, not get pushed back on the ropes against the ropes yet. But that can only be at the lightweight. Canelo ain't coming down from 168. I just don't see how he's going to do that. He's got all the belts. He's holding all the belts there, yeah? Why would he go down for no belts? Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't. Canelo, I just don't see Canelo doing that. Do you know what I mean? It's not to his benefit. And also, if it's about a money thing, how much money would you pay Canelo just to go all the way down to, let's stretch it max 160, yeah? Let's say Canelo agrees to go down 160, yeah? He's still losing about 4 kgs there. Do you know what I mean? What, 3.5 kgs? Canelo have to lose now. That might not seem like a lot to you at home. Like you're thinking, oh, 3 kgs, that's nothing. Listen, you try and lose 3 kgs. See how long that do you know what I mean? It's not easy. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the food, the dieting that you're going to have to do, a lot of the running and stuff like that, a lot of cardio work. Like, that's Canelo really want to go through that? I don't think so. But I think for Crawford, it's vital that he fights Canelo at the lower weight division because the higher Crawford goes, all the advantages go to Canelo. Because look, it's not just about the weight. Canelo, let me say it this way. If Canelo was just one of those guys that he's only got power, yeah? He's only got power. I would say Crawford move up, go fight Canelo whatever weight, yeah? Even a catch weight, 165, whatever. Go fight him there, yeah? Go fight him there because I know Crawford is good enough. His ring IQ is so good, he can avoid a lot of the punches from Canelo and possibly just avoid that one big right hand for the whole night. If anyone can do it, Crawford can do it. But we're talking about Canelo here. Canelo is not just one of those one-hit wonders. Like, it's not just waiting for that lucky punch the whole night. No, we're talking about another brilliant tactician here. We're talking about an elite, world-class fighter in Canelo Alvarez. So, in terms of like skill, they're both matched. To me, they're equal. Because Canelo's a fantastic boxer. As much as I like Crawford and his boxing prowess and everything like that, they're equally matched when it comes to ring IQ and just performances and technique and ability and everything like that. They're perfectly matched. Now, when technically, if you're 50-50, ring IQ 50-50, technically 50-50, and everything is 50-50, if you're giving away the weight advantage to another guy that's in terms of abilities equal to you, mate, that's a big advantage to the other guy, you know. Seriously, that would be a big advantage to Canelo. With all that weight and the technical ability that he possesses, he's winning that fight. Yes, Crawford might do well for the first 4 or 5 rounds, but eventually, trust me, Canelo's gonna catch him. We saw what Canelo did to Amir Khan. Do you know what I mean? I see him doing that to Crawford as well. Maybe not in that devastating manner that he did to Amir Khan, but he's definitely gonna eventually, you know, use his skills, use his ability to put Crawford in a situation where he's gonna drop his hand. Something's gonna happen during that fight. He's gonna knock Crawford out because he's just too big. Crawford is not getting to 168. He's not getting to 168. Do you know what I mean? Crawford fought at 154. He's not gonna make up another what 6 kgs, like, do you know what I mean? To go all the way up there and give up all the advantage, give up that speed, give up the mobility and all that, yeah, to fight Canelo. Now, if he really means what he says, like what he says, like he really means this is a legacy fight for him and he really wants it bad, then he will do that. He will do whatever it takes to get the Canelo fight. Do you know what I mean? And with Turkey Al Sheikh around, he's got money to splash, he's got money to burn, whatever. He can offer these two guys crazy amount of money, yeah, for them to fight. Whether it's a catch weight, whether Crawford has to go up, I think Crawford will do anything for that fight. So he's going to have to give up most of the advantages to Canelo, especially when it comes to weight. But I'm worried for that fight. I'm worried because Crawford is one of my favorite fighters of all time, yeah? And I don't want to see him get hurt. Listen, you're thinking that, Enzo, what do you mean hurt? These are boxers, they get hurt all the time. I get it, but listen, sometimes these fighters have to be protected for themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, the weight difference is massive, you know, is massive. And Canelo, I'm just worried. Canelo is such a good boxer. I don't think Crawford should be taking those risks. Do you know? I really thought after Crawford fought Israel Modrimov, those talks with Canelo kind of went down. He went quiet. I feel like people around Crawford kind of gave him advice and said, listen, let's just part there. Let's chill now. Do you know what I mean? Let it go. We'll probably go fight in his boots or boots in his. But then Boots Ennis had a rubbish performance in his last fight. He was getting tagged. He was getting caught. He looked terrible. So all of a sudden now that fight's kind of died down. All of a sudden, Ennis Boots is not the flavor of the month. So Crawford is in a situation where he's got no opponent. Now, he did indicate that there might be some big announcements coming, but who does he fight? Terrence Crawford is what, 36 years old or... Yeah, I think he's 36 years old, yeah? He hasn't got too many big fights left, and he doesn't really want to take the little fights. He wants to take the big fights, hence why he wants the Canelo fight. Do you know? Crawford's got what, 1 or 2 fights left in him? Do you know what I mean? And they have to be massive fights. It has to be big pay-per-view fights for big money, legacy fights, and that's why he wants the Canelo one. You know, listen, Crawford wants it. If Canelo also wants it as well, they'll make it happen. That's how boxing goes. You know, if 2 fighters want it, the environment is correct, and with Turkey Al Sheikh around, that fight could happen. But even Turkey Al Sheikh, after Crawford fought Israel Modrimov, I remember him saying that fight with Canelo is not on because he wasn't too impressed with Crawford after that fight with Israel Modrimov. So if Turkey Al Sheikh is saying, I'm not sure, I'm not going to make that fight, then I feel like it's very unlikely that fight is going to happen just because of the weight issues that I've just highlighted. It's not really going to happen. I do hope that Crawford, maybe why not rematch Spence, man, at 154? Rematch Errol Spence, because Errol Spence has been sitting on a bench for how long now? Almost, coming up to like a year and a half or whatever he's been sitting on the bench. Why not just go back to that fight, run it back instead of 147, run it back in 154? I mean, that fight will still do crazy numbers. I know Crawford outclassed him, but the fight will do crazy numbers. You know what I mean? Because Errol Spence is still a big name in boxing, and that will generate big pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? Big money. They both make big money. I think that's the fight to make next, you know what I mean? But listen, I'm going to leave it at that, man. You let me know in the comments what you think. Should Terrence Crawford really go for that fight against Canelo? Or is he kind of biting more than he can chew? Like, are you afraid that he might get hurt in that fight? Or you could be someone that thinks that Crawford has a great chance against Canelo. I personally, I wouldn't want to see that fight because of the weight advantage that Canelo will have, but maybe you think different. You know what I mean? Let me know in the comments what you think and who you think that Terrence Crawford should fight next, man. Drop it down in the comments. Let's have this conversation, man. I really appreciate. Once again, thank you so much for watching EMGM Sports. It's me, your boy Enzo. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's the only way you're gonna help us to grow. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll be back with another one real soon. Until then, stay blessed. Peace.